Hi, in today's video I'm going to be taking a look at creating an Emacs org mode link handler for video URLs that will open the link with MPV player. And what I'm also going to do is show you a capture template and how we can automatically get the title of the URL on the clipboard and paste it into the org mode capture. So what I'll do is I'll show you this. So we can come over here and click on any link like this and do copy link, but I'm using the Vimium browser extension, and if you press YF on the keyboard it will come up with a list of letters over all the links, and you can press those letters to copy the URL to the clipboard. So I'm going to copy this link up here, SF up here, and you'll see it had a little blue border around it showing you it had been copied. What I'm going to do now is switch across to Emacs, and I'm going to run a org capture template. So I'm going to run Control-C, and you'll see I have a template here for a video URL. So if I press V, what you'll notice is two things. It's automatically filled in the URL here, and it's added this little prefix video, which I've defined, and that's what gets the link to open with MPV player. Now, I did this in a previous video which had lots of audio stutters and pops because I was using a different desktop. But you can see here I'm now prompted for the link description. So that's the name of the link that's going to show up, basically. Now, I could manually type that out, but that's a pain. So what I've done is come up with a couple of functions to get the title of the URL that is on the clipboard that we've just copied, and then insert it into the description. So what I'm going to do here is press meta-x yt-dlp. I'm going to give it a second or two, and you can see it's finished here. Now what I'm going to do is run meta-x again, yank async, and I'm just going to press delete once, so this is all on one line, and then press return, and you'll now see that it is created a link here, and I can run Control-C to finish that and file it under the default capture target, or I can refile it. So I'm just going to run Control-C, and what I'm going to do is switch across to the capture file. So what I have here is a org file called video.org, and you can see it's got like links, YouTube, archive.org, and the link section is the default target. So what you'll see here is it's now inserted a URL. So what I can do is I can come to the end here, press delete once, and it's going to show you the syntax. So we've got the 2 stars, the headings, bracket the video, the URL, and then we've automatically grabbed the title. So what happens is if I now run Control-C, Control-O on this link, what's going to happen is it's going to open with MPV and automatically display on my external monitor. So let me just do that and come across here, see if this comes up. There we go, there's Rubenstein. I'm just going to close that there, come back to the laptop. So you can see that worked. So let's do it again, just to give it a gist. So let's come through some more Rubenstein's content, and say we just want to capture this link here. Newcastle last chance transfer move for Jacob Murphy, turned out to be nothing. I'm going to press YF AL, copy that URL. I'm just going to switch back to the scratch buffer here. I'm going to run Control-C, V, meta-x, YT get title, give it a second, meta-x again, yank async, Control-C, and you can see we've now got that filed away. Just having some tea there, so let me just order tea before it gets cold. So let's actually go through the code that does all of this and show you how you can get this set up. So let's come across to my init.el. What I've got here is my all capture templates, and this is the one we're interested down here, the video URL entry. And so what we got here is file and OLP, and the path, the video.org file, which is this one, and a default target, which is just links. That's just kind of like general, you know what I mean, dumping ground for stuff. Then what we have on this next line is 2 stars, so it's going to create 2 headings there. So the links is 1 heading and then 2 headings. So it's filed away and collapsible. Okay. So then what we have is these brackets creating the org mode link. So we have, first of all, you have the URL and then you have the description. So what we have here is video %C. So what is that? So I'll get to the video bit later on. The %C, what that does is that copies the URL from the clipboard. So we copied the URL from the clipboard in Firefox or whatever browser. Then what we have here is the link description. This %caret basically positions your cursor at the front, and then it's going to use the link description. So the next bit, if I come down here, video, right. So what I'll do is I'll cover these functions second. So what we have here, roll up, create a video link type that opens a URL using MPV play remote video, which is a function that I've defined. Basically what we're doing is we're using the mpv.el package, and this package actually has a MPV prefix for org mode links, but it only works with local files. What I've done is actually modify it to work with local with remote URLs. And the advantage of this is that MPV uses yt-dlp in the back end. So any video that can be played by yt-dlp will be played by MPV and our capture links here. So we got the org link set parameters video. So what we're doing is we're setting a link parameter called video, and we've got this thing follow and then store. So what this is follow. What that means is it's what's going to sort of follow on when we click the link, kind of. So typically org mode links, you know, by default will sort of like open in your browser. But what we're doing here is we're using this %, MPV play remote video function. So this is how we're basically specifying a function to run. Then the next important one is store, all video store link. And this is the function that actually stores the link with the capture file. Okay. So what we have here is the org video store link. So this is store a link to a video URL. So what we've got here is org link store properties, type video, link, and description. Quite straightforward. Next, what we have is the function called MPV play remote video that I've defined and copied from the original MPV play local file. So first of all, we're defining the function MPV play remote. Got these things like the URL and the arguments that are passed to the function. Then we have the description. It's an interactive command, so we can actually run it with metax. And then what we have here is a check to see if the thing we're trying to play with MPV is actually a URL. So it's going to check if it's a URL and throw an error if it's not. Then what we've got here is if not MPV process. So MPV isn't running play the file, so play the URL. So we then have MPV start URL. If MPV is running, what we do is we append the URL to the playlist, so it will play after the current video. And what we have down here is create a, is that part of it? That might be, I can't remember if that's part of, no, that's the original MPV link that I was talking about. This is actually a bit of code that is on the mpv.el package wiki, and this is how you can create a org mode link with a MPV prefix to play a local file. And that's what I basically kind of modified a bit. So the next thing we've got up here is the get the YouTube title from the URL and clipboard. Let me just top the T up. So what we do is we're copying the URL from Firefox to the system clipboard. We then have this function here called yt-dlp, which does what it says on the tin. And we've got the description, get the YouTube title from the URL on the clipboard. It's interactive. Then what we've got here is we've got let yt URL current kill 0t. And basically what that is, we're creating a variable called yt URL that is equal to the content of the clipboard, which is the URL. What we're then doing is we're running async shell command so that the command runs in the background and doesn't lock up emacs, because otherwise you just use a normal shell command, emacs will hang until the command is finished. Let me just zoom this out a bit so you can see it all in one line. So we've got async shell command, concat, and then what we've got here is yt-dlp skip download print, and you'll see this is all in double quotes here. So this title bit here needs to have a double quotes around it. So what we're doing is using the backslash to backslash or forward slash, I always forget the slash before the double quotes to escape them. Then we've got the closing double quote from the beginning of here, if that makes sense. So we've got a double quote there. We've got double quotes around this that we're escaping. We need an extra space here because otherwise the command would butt up against the URL would butt up against the command, as it were. Then what we have here is shell quote argument yt URL, and that's needed to basically escape characters in the URL that would cause issues in a shell. So that's how we get the URL. So what I can do here is let's come across YF Shearer parties. We'll copy that. I'm going to paste that in there. So you can see I've got that pasted on the clipboard. So if I run yt get title, what you'll see is nothing actually happens. You'll see in the mini buffer it will tell you it's finished. And the reason for this is asynchronous shell commands actually output to a async shell buffer. So if I run Control-XB async command, what you'll see there is actually output the result of that command into this async shell command buffer, right? So it works, but how do we get this text? You know, we could switch to this buffer manually, come across, go like that, copy it, switch back, you know, but that's a pain. So let me just switch back to the Scratch. So that's the first function, is the yt get title, and the advantage of this is that it can be run from anywhere, including in the mini buffer, as I showed you when I was capturing the URL with the org capture template. All right, so the next step is we can get the title, right, but it's output to another buffer. So what we need to do is figure out a way, get the contents of that buffer so that we can actually paste it in somewhere. Because basically what we want to be able to do is, you know, paste that in, but without having to switch to the buffer and manually copy it. So what I came up with is this bit of code here, yank async. Yank the asynchronous buffer. It's an interactive command, so we can run it with MetaX. what we've got two things here. We've got yank and then kill new. So yank should make sense. We're yanking something from the clipboard into the current buffer. Yeah, so you yank something in and it's going to paste it. Then what we have is kill new. So we've got kill new, and then with current buffer async shell command. Then we've got buffer substring no properties point min point max. So what this is doing, we kind of need to read it from the inside out. So we need to read it from here. So with current buffer async, so what this does is this kind of switches to the asynchronous buffer, and then it uses the buffer substring no properties, so it doesn't grab the faces or anything. And then it uses point min and point max to grab the start and end. Then what it does is it uses the kill new command to actually copy that to the clipboard. And then the yank command yanks what's in the clipboard into the buffer, right? It'll make sense in a second. So let's go through this. So I've yanked the URL and I run yt-dlp. That's finished. Then what I do is run meta-x, yank async, and you'll see that has now pasted that into the buffer. So rather than us going through the palaver of having to switch to the asynchronous buffer and copy it manually, we can do it like this. There is a control-x-xi command which allows you to insert a buffer, and I can do async shell command, but that wasn't playing nicely with the mini buffer when I was capturing stuff, basically, and that's why I had to come up with a workaround and a new function to do the job. So those are all the bits of getting this to work, and that's the result. And this basically means that I can come across to YouTube. I suppose I'm doing some research on something or other, and I want to find something out. Let's say emacs. Okay, say I'm interested in the absolute beginner's guide to emacs. YF SK. I'll just do it in the scratch buffer. Control C, C, V, link description, meta X, YT, get title. Give it a second. Finished. I then meta X again. You can see the most recent things here, so I can just press down, do yank async. Just press delete once. And that's another little thing I need to figure out to stop the new line. And then just press return. Control C, and it's now filed away there. If I want to file this, if I want to refile it as a capture, as I go and actually capture it, I can do that as well. So let's have a bit more tea. Scroll down here. They want the basics of Emacs from DistroTube. And say I want to refile that under YouTube. YF, AK, Control C, C, V, meta X, get title, give it a second or two, yank async, and now I want to refile that, so I'm going to run Control C, Control W, Control C, Control W, and I can now put that into YouTube. So YouTube selected there, and you'll see that's now being filed under YouTube like that. And it's really useful. And what I also use it to do is file away stuff from archive.org. So here we've got like a series, and all these are links that when I run Control C, Control O on, will open with MPV. And the first time I run the command, it's going to open MPV and play the video. If I run Control C, Control Control C, Control O on any of the subsequent links, they will be added to the playlist and be automatically played after the first video is finished. So basically what it means is you can go through and capture a load of stuff like this and then just queue it up to be played with MPV. So that's the gist of it. That's Wise Guy. So you can see that's a regular link, a regular org link without any prefix, and that opens in the browser. And this is a TV series from 1987 with Ken Wall and lots of people you remember from the 80s about a undercover agent who infiltrates the mob, hence Wise Guy. So that's something to watch while you're coding. But yeah, I just wanted a way to be able to easily capture stuff and, you know, not actually have to type in the title, because suppose I want to do these. Right, suppose I want to do this. The argument for Emacs in just a few minutes vlog, IT and DevOps career secrets. How long do you think it's going to take me to type that out? You know, I could do it manually. You know, I could do that manually, and then I've already forgotten what the title is. Do you know what I mean? Short-term memory. The argument for Emacs in just a few minutes. So I could manually type the argument for Emacs. The typos Emacs in a few minutes. Right, okay. The argument for Emacs in a few minutes. Let's do the same thing, but actually capture the title. Yank async. Okay, much quicker, and we've got the you know, the proper title as it was in YouTube. So that was just a follow on from a previous video I did about this, and how you can create a org mode link handler that will basically open the video, open the URL with MPV using the mpv.el package, and how we can knock up a couple of functions to actually get the title of the URL that's currently on the clipboard. So this can be used with this setup to capture stuff, but you know, also if you've just got stuff you want to capture, so I suppose bsitter, you can do it in any buffer. So yt get title, just wait for it to output in the mini buff down there, finished. Yank async, bang, put that in there. So yeah, it's a lot easier than typing out manually, and yeah, it'd be nice if there was a way to kind of automate it a bit more so that it came up with the capture template. But the issue is, the reason I've got two functions is because you've got to wait for the first function to finish grabbing the URL, grabbing the title from the URL, putting it out to the asynchronous buffer before you can actually get the contents of the asynchronous buffer and yank it into the document. So that's why there's two functions, because otherwise you'd have to set it to like sleep for a second or two and then grab the asynchronous buffer and yank it in. So that was the simplest way I could figure of doing it. And I say simple, it took me a while to figure out. But I'll put all the links to this under the video, and hope that makes using org mode with video files a bit easier. And as I said, what you can basically do is just easily capture stuff, file it away, and then you just come across here, Control C, Control O, Control C, Control O on all the links, and it will add them to a playlist to be played with MPV on your external monitor, full screen, all that kind of stuff. And also in my code, which I've shown you before, is I have a Hydra, which is a keyboard shortcut that then allows me to control MPV from within Emacs. So when the video's playing, I can actually bring up a keyboard. I can bring up a Hydra, which is a list of keyboard shortcuts. Actually, fast forward, stop the video, go to the next item in the playlist, all that kind of stuff. So that's all for now, and I'll put links to all this under the video.